Hit me!
Episode 411.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Tony Abdullah. It's a tech podcast, but we're a shit ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. And now, here's Will and Tony.
This is Mark Evan Jackson from Everything. You're listening to NetHeads.
Yeah, goddamn right you are. Welcome, everyone, another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
If you want to take part in the program, you know what? Hashtag NetHeads wherever you chat about us, talk about us, mark us up or don't mark us up. I don't know. What do you tag us? Whether you want to favorite us, you want to like us and subscribe, mash that alarm button to make sure you get notified. What are all the other tropes you can use, Tony? Any idea?
I don't know. Smash the button.
You know what
hit
I
the
love?
like.
Sorry, I just got to laugh. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, my apologies for the visual element. However, quite often I'm on this 3-shot, right? So you don't really see a lot of detail behind us. I made sure I was using the wide shot so that way I could exemplify, or pardon me, emphasize the Galactus head behind me that is not the popcorn bucket. But interestingly enough, I never realized the popcorn bucket doesn't reflect the movie one until I started on this endeavor. But anyway, the movie rendition of who we will speak moments from now. Moments from now. Don't go whipping yours out too. It's not a size contest.
Mine does
Although,
this too.
and you'll notice the color on yours, it's got a little more rose to it. The good news is I cut away from you. If you just dropped it, nobody saw that.
Yeah, I just kind of broke it.
Oh man, now I feel really bad. But that's okay.
Nah,
It's
that's all right.
nothing crazy glue won't fix. Look, listen, Tony.
Exactly.
I was just laughing though because it's so nice and it's wonderful that on the monitor behind you, you have the NetHeads logo. But you know, I can give you a variant of that has your name in it. If you want.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Okay, I'm just saying it might be a little more appropriate. Anyway, guys, welcome. So nice to be here. I hope all of you are doing well. Tony, why don't you tell me what have you been up to lately? Because we didn't do the podcast for a long time. There were, once again, I know everyone in the audience is relieved. They're like, oh yes, Will does still have friends. I know there were concerns. He was a crazy guy just talking to himself in a studio and a camera, telling you about his experiences seeing movies. But no, thankfully, I do still have friends. Tony, how you been? What you been up to?
I've been up to absolutely nothing, Will. Thanks for asking. No,
You're very welcome. I'm glad to give you the opportunity to not plug anything.
No, I mean, other than, it's kind of funny. I realized something very early on that when you decide that you're going to make a social media presence, that's when you don't do it.
Exactly.
So I am just a guy who likes nerd crap. And if I make a video, sure, I'm going to do Doctor Who on Sundays with Fanbox with the guys. And that's pretty much all I'm willing to commit to, except for the occasional NetHeads. I'm not even doing my own show, which I probably need to figure that out soon, or else it's really not a show anymore.
Wow, you know, what's interesting is I didn't know we were going to be getting Friend on the verge of a nervous breakdown, but I'm glad that we could entertain such things during the program today. I want you to know I'm not a licensed therapist. I am not prepared to help you, just to be clear.
Well, maybe Megamind can help us out with something.
I think you mean Magic Mind, but they're not
Magic
a sponsor
Mind
right now.
Well,
so
see, I'm not. Yeah,
Actually,
well, that's why I didn't use the right name, because they're not a paid sponsor. We're not gonna promote the name unless.
Yeah, sadly, I'm actually down to my last. There was one extra month that I got free product, and so yeah, I know I was it was for free, guys. Sorry. No, I mean, I got product too. It was paid. No surprise. But I do really like the product, and I'm bummed because I'm now down to my last extra box. So
yeah, and I will say, I will admit, when you first started doing it, I mean, this was early last year, that you like even started doing anything with Magic Mind. I was impressed because you had just come off of a concussion
Yeah.
and you were still like going strong. And I think that had
Well,
something to do with the herbal assistance,
I
along
mean,
with, medical treatment. But,
the herbal assistance and the magic mind.
well, it depends on what
See
kind of
what
herbal assistance we're talking about.
Just making it's jokes. People were just making jokes. It's just we're bringing
Yeah.
bits. We don't know what else to do because neither one of us plays football, nor is either one of us going to get Taylor Swift to appear on this podcast. So you might wonder, guys, why
not?
bother? I don't know, man. At this point, I honestly don't
Taylor
know.
Swift doesn't like tech podcasts? I mean,
No. I think there's only one reason why she listens to New Heights, and it's because of the guy, one of the two that's on there. But anyway, I don't mean that in a
Yeah.
bad way. I mean, I
likes
just
to
like
grab the beard.
so anyway, welcome everybody. I do still have friends. That's good to see. Today we're going to be talking about the summer blockbusters and our impressions of them. We're going to be able to go spoiler deep, partially because you know what? Hey, Superman's already on digital, so you can already watch it at home. More thoughts on that later. Also, Fantastic Four has been out enough weeks, and the box office has dropped enough for us to talk about it. And Jurassic Rebirth is now on home digital. So, wait, is it on home digital? It is,
It
right?
is.
Yeah, it is. Surprisingly, like shockingly, that was well. But then again, Superman was also quick. But
Also, that was kind of quick because it was by design.
Which one was Jurassic?
No, Superman.
James
Gunn came out and said one of the reasons.
More on that later. We are not ready to get into the meat of it, Tony.
Now, I didn't know we were going to do impressions of the movies. Is that why you look like Lex Luthor right now?
No, very funny.
Oh.
But I am an amalgamation of everybody I think in there that was heterosexual and white in the movie. Because I've got the Superman shirt, but I look like Lex Luthor. I'm wearing Economus's glasses, but he's not in Superman. He's in Peacemaker. More on that later as well. Just in mere minutes, guys. You see, the thing is, I'm torn, Tony. I'm sitting here, and sitting over to my left is a box, and it is my Slice box, right? It's like the Ultimate Pro SliceWorks subscription box. I haven't opened it yet, and I want to see what is in it. I want to get in there because there's going to be a brand new solid color filament. There's going to be a brand new tricolor filament, and then there's going to be a bonus prize. And then there's probably going to be a flyer telling me how I can get a discount on even more stuff. And you know SliceWorks because I said, Tony, I've put the SliceWorks triple dipped cool plate on every one of my machines, and before yours took a total crap on you, one of the enhancements you did was what?
I got the SliceWorks, the triple dipped build plate, which I will tell you, I think one of the things that they do not advertise well enough for this build plate is that it's double-sided.
Yes.
A lot of times when you get a build plate on your 3D printer, you only use the same side over and over again, and it'd be prone to wear. And I will be honest with you, when my printer crapped out, one of the things is it put a little bit of a gouge in one of the sides of the build plate. Now, thankfully, it's not so bad as to cause a problem, but me being an OCD, like aesthetic, like caring person,
I don't want to see
had a
that.
problem
Flip
with it.
over.
And so I flipped that sucker over and it's like it's brand new all over again. And I'm going to tell you, I have not worried once about build plate adhesion. There we go. Adherence to this build plate since I've gotten it. It has been the only problems that I have had is the printer itself failing.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with the SliceWorks build plate. I wish I would have gotten this sucker sooner. I cannot just talk as much as I possibly could. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Exactly. And the way you got that was utilizing the link in bio, or you can go to thatwillwilkins.com to get directed for the link for SliceWorks. It may be listed as the triple dip cool plate, but if you use that link and you use the offer code thatwillwilkins, you'll get $5 or 5% off your purchase, whether it's the triple dip
Which
build
I did.
plate, whether it's the subscription box for $40, 2 filaments and a bonus item. That's guaranteed to be at least $20. So there in itself, you're already getting a bargain, right?
Yeah, and if you're not really a 3D printing like aficionado or whatever, or aficionado, I don't know. Words vocabulary, it sucks. But if you're not like someone who's familiar with 3D printing and the costs thereof, when you're going into getting like good quality print, like PLA, you're looking at the lowest you could possibly go for quality. You're looking at like $15 to $20.
Yeah,
And
if you're
so
lucky,
then you go into
$16.99.
like the niche stuff. It's
Yeah.
even better because I went on the TikTok shop and I bought some of that Soluse Creality stuff, and that has been what's been wreaking havoc on my printer
Oh,
for the
man.
longest time because it causes dusting. I've had to take my entire like head apart so that I could like get the dust out of the extruder and everything else.
Yeah,
Go for
no.
quality, and SliceWorks proves it every single time.
Not to mention their filament is made here in the U.S., the United States of America. Quality filament. I have not had a single issue with their filament. I trusted it so much. My brother had entrusted me to make custom poker chips for his golf club group, right? And so mind you, I'm doing 100% infill. I'm doing 4 color changes. We're talking about, I think, an entire day and a half to print up 19 of these things. I needed them to look good, and I needed to not have problems because I just mentioned 4 color changes, solid 100% infill. I needed it to look good, and I needed to trust my filament, and that's why 2 out of the 4 that I was using were my SliceWorks. I used my red Old Glory red that I got from them in the previous box, and I used the wonderful, I can't remember the name of the white, but it's like opal white or something. It's a wonderful shade. I love their filaments. And the thing is, if you know anything about 3D printing, you can never have enough filament. So whether you get for $39.95, you get the Ultimate Pro SliceWorks, the Slice Box subscription box, or whether you want to get yourself a triple dip build plate or some filament, whatever it is you want to do, use the link in bio for SliceWorks and use offer code ThatWillWilkins. Get 5% off your purchase. You got to make sure to do both to let them know I sent you. Because honestly speaking, the SliceWorks guy sent me a box. I'm like, dude, that's wonderful, but I can see the metrics. You know, like during this period, there was only X number of sales. He's like, no, you've brought more. They just forget to use the offer code. It's like, okay, way to go, guys. So be sure to do both, is all I'm saying. Anyway, Tony, you're bringing up a funny thing. So we're going to lead off with this. Instead of going directly into the summer movies, I want to talk about Peacemaker premiere season 2. I watched it. You didn't. That's okay. And part of the reason why it ties in, I don't think it was so much by design, so much as that I think James Gunn realized I really need to release one in a more wide fashion and of easily available fashion before the other airs. Because I will say right now, folks, the reason why Superman was on home video, as Tony was alluding to, James Gunn said he wanted it in homes the week before Peacemaker so people had the time to see Superman. And the reason why leads right into it. Like, I'm telling you right now, the concept that we're being given in this first episode that to carry us, I'm guessing, through the season is fundamentally built on elements from Superman. So you can't get away from it. And if you haven't seen Peacemaker season 2, like there has been the the official Peacemaker podcast with James Gunn. That's the title of it, and he emphasizes it every time he has to say it. But, you know, the entire time they've been doing a podcast and they've been revisiting season 1, they've always been talking about what's canon, what's not canon, what's not canon. Guys, do not skip. Whatever you do, do not skip the prelude, right? Like the previously on Peacemaker. Watch it all. Because all I'm going to say is, so many questions answered, and it is so fun. I'm sorry, it's fun, but you have to realize that Peacemaker as a superhero product is still very dark. It's built on a dark premise. It is additionally, it comes from a dark place. Season 1 ended on a major freaking downer, technically speaking. Yes, Peacemaker saved the world, but at what cost, right? And is he having a psychotic breakdown? oh, and this thing that was from here, that's probably the last meal it will ever have. So many things. Such a downer. But man, oh man, I rewatched the entire run of season 1 to lead into season 2. And I'm instantly in love with what I'm seeing, Tony. It's a good time. And I like
That's
some
awesome.
conflict that they're setting up.
Mhm.
It's really good. And
Well, with
it
that
ended,
said, I will be leaving now. I need to go watch Peacemaker. So.
I don't blame you, right? You know, screw talking to this guy. But everything you probably loved about Peacemaker season 1 is right there in the premiere of season 2. So,
Okay, great.
And that's all I'll say. And so my reaction is nice. I don't know what else to say, right? I don't want to give it a screaming endorsement, but at the same time, I'm excited about it, but it might not appeal to everybody.
I think one of the things that like a lot of people need to realize is whatever James Gunn does with the DC studios, with the DC universe now at this point, it's going to also be cradled in the sense of like stuff that he loves. And we are like if you've been watching any of the stuff that's been coming out on social media, there was a really cool blip from, I guess it was like a Q&A with John Cena, and talking about how like what was the best part about doing the thing was he was never the first choice for Peacemaker. He was kind of like the guy that they went to after their original plans fell through. So he wasn't James Gunn's first pick. But there was something that resonated in the Suicide Squad so much with John Cena that James Gunn broke his one cardinal rule about not bringing back dead characters. And because Peacemaker was dead at the end of the Suicide Squad, and so they ended up bringing him back. And so like you can already tell James is having a lot of fun, and you can see things from James, like his whole idea of what he likes to do in cinematography through Peacemaker. And it's all that niche stuff from Trauma, stuff through like Slither and all that other stuff. It's kind of like very campy and fun, and it's wonky, but it's always going to be something he enjoys doing, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, kind of dipping into the spoilerishness of Superman, kind of taking a step back. Because one, yeah, it is great to hear that Peacemaker is one of the things that James Gunn had the most fun doing, especially when he was kind of in that whole fired by Marvel, doing stuff for DC, getting rehired by Marvel, but I got to do Peacemaker kind of thing. You know, he was kind of like a man torn between two worlds, but just fundamentally loved what he was doing with Peacemaker. And apparently it is the exact same thing on Peacemaker season 2, which I am glad to hear after even trying to conceptualize what he did prior to Peacemaker season 2, which is to bring Superman back to the big screen. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, there is an entire episode of NetHeads where all I'm doing is extolling the virtues of Superman and how great of a movie I thought it was. But today, if somehow you have not seen Superman, I'm sorry. Today we're getting into the spoilers to really give our thoughts about it. But, you know, I just probably consider that was probably a big weight on James Gunn's shoulders, because some people may or may not have seen Creature Commandos, which is like in the DC,
which would be a darn shame.
Yeah, but some people may not have seen it, but it's part of the new canon, right? And elements of Peacemaker season 1 are part of the canon, and now Superman is the first like wide audience thing to happen. And I will say that's probably no truer statement that I've ever made than that one, because the multi-generational audience that was present when I went to go see Superman opening week, there were people of all ages, because this character has ways to appeal to people throughout the ages, whether it's the George Reeves Superman or the Christopher Reeves Superman, or any one of the cartoon Supermen that have existed. And, you know, like one of the things that you may not know if you hadn't been messing with HBO Go or HBO Max or Max or HBO Max, what you may not have realized is that there has also been a major movement in the DC world overall, where they have just been making kind of like these one-off cartoons cartoon movies and the like. I mean,
DC has always been stronger than Marvel when it came to their animated features.
Yeah.
It's just, that's always been, that was the thing. Marvel Studios did, the MCU did really well. And DC was blowing them out of the water with their animated stuff. I mean, listen, I can sit down and watch Super Sons over and over again. There's just great quality. Even like the more niche stuff. Like if you go and watch something with Constantine or whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it's like part of the bigger canon. There's just great freaking stories.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest. Recently, I watched Crisis on Infinite Earths. May not have been their strongest offering. I'm just saying. Might be a problem that I was only watching it at like after midnight every time I would watch an episode. But, and regardless,
still better than The Flash, though.
Regardless, my point being, there are so many different ways that people can appreciate Superman. The comic books are too, obviously. But he has had this massive appeal. So. And this movie is relaunching, essentially, the DC cinematic universe, right?
Right.
Or the DC extended universe, or whatever the hell it is they're calling it. I don't know. But they got the new fun logo. I got to tell you, what really messed me up when I went to go see Superman, and I've already said this probably once before, what really messed me up is that I don't know what went wrong with the trailers package, but there were no trailers before my showing of Superman. It just went straight into Superman. I was like,
we had trailers.
Yeah, I'm like, this is great. Yeah, just give me all meat, man. No potatoes. Let's go. And I got to say, now that I can speak spoilerishly about this movie, I think there was only one couple that may have come into the movie late and then they walked out again. But I may be mistaking that with Thunderbolts. I don't know. That's the only recent element I can think of. It was during one of the movies. I don't think it was Superman. I don't remember anybody walking out of Superman. And the reason is that just like James Gunn, in all seriousness, stuck the landing. And it was from now on, he's got to have a really major fumble for me to lose faith in James Gunn. I loved everything that they did with this movie. I love the fact that we just come into it. Stuff has happened. Usually, I don't like reading text or having a crawl before a movie unless it starts with a big fanfare and it says Star Wars. But I was accepting of this. I liked this new world that they're introducing us to. And we're in the thick of Superman just getting his ass freshly kicked. I love that.
I loved that the what was it? The combination of threes, like 30 years ago.
3 centuries ago, the first metahumans were here. 30 years
ago.
30 years ago,
Superman
dying civilization sent their baby. 3
years ago, Superman appeared on the scene. 3
hours ago,
3 hours ago,
H.E.R.B.I.E.
It was 3 days ago. Superman was like involved in
stopped the
war and caused controversy. 3 hours ago, he lost his first battle.
No. 3 hours ago, a metahuman named the Hammer of Baravia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
showed up at Metropolis. 3 minutes ago, he lost his first battle ever. Crashes in. And I will say, having seen it in the cinema, people bitching and complaining about the concentrated sunbeams healing him, and he shouldn't be screaming. When you hear every single one of those bones crack back into place, you understand he may be invulnerable on the outside, guys, but he's still got insides just like all of us, right?
And when you find out who the Hammer of Baravia is, it makes a whole lot more sense why Superman got his butt kicked.
Let me tell you, somehow completely lost on me. And like I said, we're talking about spoilers. So guys, like, key pivotal things in this film happen. And you're like, how is this possible? How is it that Lex Luthor is getting the Fortress of Solitude to show up when it only seems like when Superman was coming at it, it showed up? How is he doing this? How is it that this guy, this Ultraman, seems to be really whooping Superman's ass? And then the big reveal, guys, again, we're deep into spoilers on this one that I loved. It was a clone of Superman, and it wasn't quite right. In the movie theaters I saw, he had like the wiggy eye like I do, right? He just had one kind of drifting. And that's the idea of why he was stronger than Superman because the
The
process wasn't
compassion
quite
and
right.
Yep.
Well, no, the process also wasn't quite
But
right.
also,
So he
Superman
developed
pulls his
differently.
punches. Like I think I mean, when you also look at this film, like throughout the whole film, we see Superman only ever doing measured battles. There's a giant kaiju in the middle of Metropolis. He's more worried about making sure the squirrel is safe and everybody else is safe
Ah,
because the whole purpose is he's not trying to kill the kaiju. He's just trying to figure out the best way to contain it so they can study it.
yeah.
Like that's Superman. Like he's sitting there and I remember people were giving crap about the idea that he's talking to Lois Lane and he's in his apartment while there's this meta creature being out there and fighting the Justice Gang. And it's like, well, no, it's because he already knows the risk assessment of this. He knows they can handle it. There's no reason why he needs to get involved with that, unless he feels like they're going to be at risk. That's Superman. Superman knows that
Better yet, he wasn't working with them to do that because why? He
He's
was
looking for the dog.
Because he's out there somewhere
and I'm
he's
sitting there
probably
going,
scared.
and I'm
Oh my
sitting-
gosh, did that rip your heart?
Yes.
Anyway, hold on. Flag on the play, man. Hold on,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're getting way off base here. The whole point was Ultraman is actually the clone of Superman. The process wasn't perfect, so yeah, he is actually stronger than Superman,
Mhm.
right? Because he's not restraining himself at all.
Right.
Which is further emphasized once Kal-El, once Superman knows this. Notice at that point, it's kind of like that moment in one of the cartoons that I was talking about, where Superman's just like, it's my entire life. It's walking around with feather gloves
Mm-hmm.
because he's fighting Darkseid, and then he's like, "But you, big boy, you can take it." And then he just like flexes and gets ready to unleash hell.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, Ultraman is Superman. So that's how a lot of these things happen. I loved the fact that Lex Luthor, as a villain, is driven by exactly what Lex Luthor should be driven by.
Mhm.
He's potentially one of the greatest minds. He has the most money, but no matter what he does, he can never be as good as Superman, because Superman is the constant reminder of just how weak and pathetic humans truly are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, that is just...
And it's
that is
a
wonderful.
hatred of jealousy. It's the purest form of hate that, of all the villains. It's not a matter of like Lex wants to go conquer the world, because he could easily do that without ever getting involved with Superman.
Mhm.
We see what he's able to do in the dark corners of, the world in this universe, but he has a hatred for mostly aliens. It's mostly aliens. He's very, xenophobic in that sense. But he also, like, he looks at metahumans as something to use and abuse, and that is much more dangerous than any villain that's out for money or for power. He's just out there to destroy what he doesn't like. So yeah.
I think the other thing I loved about this movie was just the absolute authenticity, and in no way asking for forgiveness at all, about
Mhm.
Ma and Pa Kent, a man and woman farmer in frickin' Kansas, baby. Wait, not Kansas,
Yeah.
Kansas?
Smallville, Kansas.
There you go. So just like, they're, oh man, when Ma Kent is leaning over the table shouting at the phone, you're like, that's exactly what you would expect some podunk, dirt farmer in Kansas to do. And Jonathan is just like, he was just bringing out some good squirrels to cook up for dinner. You know what I mean? I loved
Mhm.
that aspect of it. I think
I loved how
also,
simple that they were, but they were so wise in the fact that they just wanted to show love to him, and they knew he was going to do great things. Like we've already had the Jonathan Kent that stops him, from obviously saving his father, which he could have done so quickly no one would have noticed. But they're just proud of their kid, and they're there to support him.
Mm-hmm. So many things about
A
the Superman
superhero movie
are
without
fun.
emotional trauma from the parents. Oh.
I know. Who could have expected it? I think also Eddie. I can never say his last name right. Eddie. Now I just sound like Quagmire.
You sound like me talking.
I sound like Quagmire on
Giggity,
Family
giggity.
Guy. Giggity. Eddie, it's like Eddie Galecki or Eddie Galecki or anyway.
Giggity.
His portrayal of Mr. Terrific is absolutely fabulous, and I love
Oh,
all the
yes.
behind the scenes stuff that we keep getting. Like straight up, he just like I think Gunn told him just mush the guy in the face when he's like slams and like shut up, bitch. I'm Mr. Terrific. Just absolute great portrayal, and I think my favorite moment of the entire movie just comes down to, actually it's two of them, to an absolute just heartbeat of a moment. It's when Lex is all cocky and he's like, fire up the gate, and he's walking. And the minute he realizes that dot on his peripheral is coming at him very quick, all composure lost, and he is just busting ass to get to that gate and get away, which he does not. And the other moment I absolutely love, just because it's so horrible and vicious, is that just as Lex is trying to make his retort to the great humanity speech that Superman gives, just out of nowhere, Crypto, boom, and he's basically
pulverizing him.
Have you seen the lizard video where it's a bird and it's got a lizard and it's slamming it on the ground in its beak? That's what Crypto was doing to Lex Luthor. And I'm just like, that is so wonderful. But I mean, so many great beats. I teared up several times in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Not gonna lie.
It was emotional. It was a very, it's you never know when you go into a superhero film what the beat is going to be about it. Is it going to be all action? Is it going to be flashy? A lot of superhero films have been, like cash grabs when it comes to names and celebrities. What I liked about this was Nicholas Hoult. I wasn't sure. I knew he would be better than Jesse Eisenberg?
Yes.
That was Lex Luthor in the DCU, which I honestly, if we probably would have given him more time, I think he could have really grown into a good Lex. He was more of an Alex Luthor in my mindset. And that's just, a clone of a clone. It's just what it is. But I really liked what he did. It wasn't so much Gene Hackman. It wasn't so much Kevin Spacey. It wasn't really that much of Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville. It was a good mixture of its own thing. But there were the moments for me was the moment that you saw Superman completely unraveled and he's like wrecking Lex's office, and Lex just kind of picks up his cup and he's drinking. It's that knowledge that the most powerful man in the world is in front of you. And he's not going to lay a single finger on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so rich, you don't care, because all of this is just playing into your narrative. And it was that moment where I'm like, that's my Lex Luthor. I don't care about anything else. So Superman is only as good as his Lex Luthor, and we got a really good Lex Luthor, especially the wonkiness of there are people in his meta jail just because
he's a petty bitch. That's why, because he's a petty bitch.
Why are you still with this guy? Because his ex-girlfriend.
His other ex-girlfriend wrote about him in her blog and is locked away.
She's in a pocket universe.
But that's the whole thing. And Nicholas Holt's portrayal is really what pulls it off, because the other thing he does is there is no apology for and there is no caring for Lex Luthor. He earns every bit of hatred we're supposed to give him in this movie, with almost no redeeming qualities, right down to the pettiness of knocking the coffee cup full of pens and pencils back down after the interns just panicked and cleaned it all up. Just he's a petty bitch and he's a dick. I hate him. Wonderful. All in all, great move. We're running out of time though. We got to pivot. I want to go to one that will be very quick. So we're going to divert from Superman, and we're going to venture into Jurassic World Rebirth. My first question, again, spoilers, it's on digital, guys. You've had enough time. If you don't know the basic concept of the movie, it's wonderful. The Jurassic World from Chris Pratt, the original park we saw, naturally, they had an experimentation island, much like Isla Nublar had Isla Nublar.
Isla Nublar. Isla Sorna.
Right.
So so they're technically talking about Site C for InGen.
Right. But so the new park, and they're trying to come up with basically mutant dinosaurs, hybrids, to meet park demands and public demand. That goes south, the park goes south. Enough said. Giant pharmaceutical company wants to get enzymes from 3 of the largest dinos because it can help them to cure, or to at least treat heart disease and possibly give people another 20 years.
Yeah,
okay?
prolonged heart disease. Yep.
A good concept, but naturally worth a lot of money for people that can afford it. So they hire a mercenary, because all of the dinos that we saw in all of the other Jurassic World movies, again, why it's called Rebirth, I'm unclear, because like there is after the trauma of the opening happens, then we get like basically the words that, you know, the dinosaurs are dying. They right. You know, the modern world they can't live in. They've all kind of shrunken down to just you know, a ribbon around the equator. And that is a no-fly, no-go zone.
And I will be honest with you, that was the moment that they hooked me, because one of the things that drove me nuts about the previous Jurassic World films is for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, we got this concept that the dinosaurs were going loose in the park, and then Dominion gave us this glimmer of hope that we were going to see dinosaurs like interacting with the real world beyond Battle of Big Rock, I think it's called, which was a short that Colin Trevorrow did, which was fantastic, which made me have hope for Dominion. They gave us none of that. We got a couple blips of stuff that happened with dinosaurs on like thoroughfares and everything else, and pterodons, you know, nesting in top of skyscrapers, which was fine. But I'm sitting there watching giant dinosaurs in the snow, and I'm like, okay, I get it. What we know about dinosaurs is not what's real. They were more warm-blooded than cold-blooded. I get that. But like, I just couldn't quantify dinosaurs just hanging out in cold places. And the moment that they said, yeah, they're dying off, they're staying where it's, you know, it's more tropical, it's more, you know, appealing to them, like, that makes more sense for me.
Well,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the reason for it makes perfect sense. Warmer climate, higher concentration of oxygen, so it's not as polluted, right? Because they're all off in the distance. So this movie cracked me up in many ways because of that. Because all of the ancillary characters are, you know, that they're going to die, because in character development and depth, they are each but a rain puddle, a small one at that, maybe something the lawn cast off when it was getting watered. So you knew each one of them was going to die. And in the long run, I think the biggest thing that I was insulted by, I mean, I thought it was very clever the way they end up giving us the children in peril aspect of the story, because there's some dad with his daughters and daughter's boyfriend on a boat trip, yet somehow we're not supposed to call this guy a bad parent, because clearly homeboy went too close to the equator than he should have, right? So, oh, great seaman who built his own boat. Anyway, but the biggest insult for me,
and close enough to the island where the Spinosaurs were there, because that's what they saw first.
Yeah. So let me tell you, the biggest insult to me in this movie, all right, is something I said in the first moments with the trauma element that shut down the research facility, and then to confirmation as we saw more of it, whatever that megasaur was that they had.
Rex.
Huh?
The Distortus Rex.
Yes, Distortus Rex. I saw it and I'm like, okay, so they made a Rancor. They made the Rancor.
It's like a mixture of a Rancor and a Snarlack from Coneheads.
Like, okay, so you made a Rancor. All right, are you happy with yourself? You made the Rancor. Way to go. Way to go. Like overall, if I were to rank it amongst the breadth of them, I mean, it's at least better than Jurassic World 3. I mean, Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, well, that's a low bar for. I
was able to watch it twice, so it's
listen.
Not,
there are video games that are far better than some of the movies, and that's okay.
It's not bad.
It's kind of Jurassic Park, Jurassic World is. It started off like you had those first two films, which I know some people give flack for Lost World, but it was the last Jurassic Park that franchise film that was anywhere close to being part of an actual novel that Michael Crichton wrote. Not by much, because like there were some sci-fi elements in the Lost World in the book that would have been fantastic to see in the movie, like chameleon, like carnosaurs and stuff like that. Like it would have been fantastic to see people being picked off by like, like basically invisible dinosaurs. I would have loved that. But I mean, I get where they were going with this. I think there was a great concept. I loved seeing the mosasaur a little bit more involved. I'm still, as much as I liked the concept with the Spinosaurs, it was kind of hard to see a dinosaur look different. It was kind of like when you saw the raptors in Jurassic Park 3, where they kind of had the quill thing because they're trying to go with the feather. It's like, okay, they look different. They're not like the one we saw in Jurassic Park 3, which probably a good thing. But I will say some good jump scares.
Yeah.
I was surprised by the people who did survive in some cases, because I'm going to say it, spoilers, but that boyfriend should have died.
Nah.
Period.
Nah, you can't kill off the comic relief, sir. You can't do that. So
I just love the fact that he's standing there as these dinosaurs are hunting him and about to kill each other.
Velociraptors,
and he's peeing, and then all of a sudden he stops.
Yeah.
And then it gets quiet, and all of a sudden you just hear the trickle again. And I'm just like, okay, that's fun.
But still, it was messed up that basically it's like raptors are on him, and then nope, those raptors just got killed by a sky raptor. Okay. And my wife was like, "Are you sure that's part raptor?" I'm like, "Yeah, look at the claws." Because it did have the one big misplaced claw. I'm like, yeah, that's a messed up thing I don't want to deal with, but at least
Freddie in the chat said he finally read Jurassic Park, a long time coming. I am going to tell you, I will say the raft portion of this movie of Rebirth did kind of scratch an itch that I've had ever since reading Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
when it came to the Tyrannosaurus like lazily on the river and then going after them, I was happy with that.
That was there. And kind of and having a moment with rapids as well. The only thing that was missing was going into the terrarium for the
Yes.
But anyway, but we digress. We did get some type of flying dinosaur action in many ways. Horrific. Again, the worst thing I can ever imagine, the worst way I can ever imagine dying is being swallowed whole by anything. And unfortunately, that's a horror you have to face several times. But anyway, if it's on one of the services you pay for on an afternoon, enjoy it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But until then,
my kid is a diehard Jurassic Park fan, so we bought it on digital.
Yeah.
Because I know he's gonna wear it out, so we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, it is. Look, don't get me wrong, it is rewatchable, but
it's better than Dominion.
It is one of those movies. Iron Man for the 400th time while I'm working on something. Maybe we can put on some Jurassic World Rebirth, okay? Maybe.
And I will say this one last thing. This just makes me want Marshall Ali in the MCU even more. I know we got to miss Cottonmouth. We need Blade because I love that actor.
Let me tell you something, man. For the longest time, there were many people that were like, we're never going to get the Fantastic Four in the MCU. We're never going to get the X-Men in the MCU. The new mantra is now we're never going to get Blade in the MCU. It's never going to happen.
We technically did.
I mean, for a brief moment, yeah.
And voice. I love that whole thing. There ain't nothing but me. It's just
ain't never gonna be another Blade.
Yeah.
Speaking of the MCU, my friend, the other big movie that I've been dying. By the way, don't forget triple dip build plate. Link in bio, thatwillwilkins.com. Use offer code thatwillwilkins. Get yourself some great filament or the subscription box. Fantastic Four First Steps came out, Tony. Mm-hmm. You've seen it now. I've seen it. You frustratingly could not see it until much later in the time stream, whereas I was like chomping at the bit the very opening day. Dragged my family to it. They actually liked Superman more, I got to be honest. But Fantastic Four First Steps.
No, we saw it the opening night.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Look,
it was Thunderbolts. We had to wait.
There you go. It all melds together. You want to talk again about how well I bounced back after that concussion? Anyway, let me say 21. Great. Listen, I adored this movie. I thought it was an excellent introduction of the Fantastic Four. I love the fact that going back to this retro futuristic 60s world harkens back to the origins of the Fantastic Four. Also, it forces us to suspend any preconception we have from anything else we've seen, whether it's Fan Four Stick or whether it's the other Fox movies for Fantastic Four, or even the original one by Roger Corman. You know, all I'm saying is it did that. And the last thing that I liked, considering, look, guys, the big bad in this one, it's Galactus. It really was. It wasn't anything more than it ever said it was going to be. There were no left or right hooks, and I was happy about it. But I think it was very beneficial, because if you had placed this story into what they're referring to as the 616, or what is the name of it? The
199999.
No, it's
the sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline. Okay, which is the best way to put it now. So if you put this adventure into the sacred timeline, where Reed Richards isn't as limited by the technology available of the time, it's a far smaller problem. You know, when you get nanotechnology and massive satellites and anything else into play, so this story couldn't happen anywhere except where they told it. And I also love the fact that it does not truly lead into what we saw in the Thunderbolts, and just as I had said, it would have been too dark if they had failed, which they did not.
Yes, I stand corrected. I will admit that I was wrong, but I think my theory now is much more on par with what's going on.
What is that? What theory is that?
What theory are we talking about?
Yeah.
The fact that the reason why they've actually come into the sacred timeline now is because Doom has taken Franklin Richards, and he's using him as his power source to create his own battle world and be God Doom.
No, that would make sense. I could dig that.
Where instead of Molecule Man, it's Franklin Richards.
Yeah, that could play, man. That could play. I can see it. And apparently, spoilers in the end credits, we see basically Doom showing up to talk to young Franklin. And it was confirmed by Shackman that was actually Downey on set too. Robert Downey Jr.
That was probably the most expensive no face appearance cameo of everything.
I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on it?
Can I just say, first of all, I was so refreshed by us not having to go through an origin story, that they instead did a vignette talking about them for like a promotional for like a show, because these guys are the biggest celebrities in the world in this universe. And we got the whole gist of it right then and there. And having a real Bronx Ben Grimm, who's not just sitting in the corner pouting about being a stone, was perfect for me. I was tired from the original Fantastic Four, because it was always about fix me Ben, or fix me Reed, or you know, the other one being angry and not being intelligent and looking more like a Cronin than anything else. This movie just made me absolutely happy. And the fact that Ben really wore clothes, like, that made a big deal too.
You know, we also really didn't get, I mean, like, my complaints, I don't really feel we got enough Johnny Storm in this movie, ironically.
But what we did get about him made him more intelligent than he's been depicted for a long time.
Well, I mean, it takes the natural thing, which is like, I am the smartest man. I am attempting to do the smartest thing with the smartest people who I just happen to have surrounded myself with, which makes sense when really Pedro Pascal's performance of Franklin Richards, or Reed Richards, pardon me, really, really kind of there are elements of being on the spectrum in that character performance. So,
and there is a duplicity with Reed Richards that I feel like has not been seen on screen, and we finally got it where Sue looks at him and she's like, "You're thinking the worst possible thing," and that is Reed Richards. Reed Richards is always one decision away from being the supervillain. Like, that's just like, because as is evidence in the comics. Depraved. Yeah, it's not that he's morally depraved. It's just that he understands that there are some things in natural, like evolution and in science or whatever, that it's better just to kind of go on board with. That's why I loved the Marvel Zombies comic run that they did. And I think that was with Robert Kirkman, where Reed Richards is trying to find a cure, and he realizes that the cure is to become a zombie, because then you're not constrained by anything else other than your own cravings and needs, but you can still be alive regardless of whether you feed or not. And he's like, this is the next step. Let's go ahead and infect the rest of the universes. So I absolutely, yeah, it's amazing. Like you just, yeah, it's great.
I think the only thing I didn't buy in this movie, realistically, was the way that Johnny Storm basically was able to reawaken the great guilt within the Silver Surfer, H.E.R.B.I.E in this case. You know, just let me play all these things and remind you of the lack of a better term, humanity you've basically turned your back on, being the harbinger of this killing machine, just so yours could survive. Which, by the way, if you think about it, okay, if the eventual heat death of the universe doesn't happen before Galactus has nothing to feed on, then there's only so long you're going to actually spare your planet. In the long run, it's getting consumed. I just realized that. That's freaking dark.
Well, it's like it was more believable for me. I feel like Johnny was what's the only thing you could do when you're really pushing down the trauma of what you're doing? The voice of your own people, like that, like hearing your own language and hearing what, like, she's probably like pushed that in the deep recesses of her mind for so long. It made perfect sense to me. I was impressed by that, because I mean, let's face it, what did Norrin Rad in the Rise of the Silver Surfer, what changed him? Oh, Jessica Alba's boobs. That's pretty much what it was. She talked to him, and which was also a reason why everybody else showed up for that movie, I think, at that point.
Speaking of which, Tony, and I'm talking about Sue, not Jessica Alba, nor her breasts. In this case, that was one of the things that I really loved in this movie, was that it was a mother's determination that actually saved the day. And they did finally pay off the fact that, yeah, this kid is a little extraordinary when he rewrites reality to bring mom back to life. Because Sue expels all of her strength in order to push Galactus through the giant galactic donut hole. And, you know, she dies. And he does. And I love the fact that it was a very similar effect in the eyes that we see in the comics when somebody is infused with the power cosmic, right?
Yeah.
That was a wonderful touch. But anyway, I love that it was a mother's determination that really kept the story moving, too. Because, you know, often it's, like you said, it's just, she's invisible now, but in your mind, you know, she's naked, you pervert. None of that, which I like.
Yeah, I love that their costumes like worked well with it. And I also love the fact, can we just say, having a Johnny Storm that can flame on without burning his clothes up, like I get it. It's probably, Reed probably made something, but I also thought it was like, okay, he's the manifestation of flame. He can absorb it. He do all this other stuff. He's only ever been hot and burning in previous iterations. This one has him manifesting flames in a way that I could see that maybe his clothes don't require any type of like molecular like protection. Maybe that's part of his power. He utilizes flames, but it's flames that don't burn him, that can burn everything else. Like
it's just way too much thought. I'm just all like, yeah.
That leather jacket could not be made out of his.
Reed gave him clothes. Reed gave him clothes. He soaked it in. He dipped it into special stuff.
You're just good.
No, it's some type of molecular imbalancer that's heat reactive while also maintaining stability. Some type of solution that does that. And forget about it. It's that easy.
It's just like a spray you put on your shoes so you don't get them wet.
The thing that I also found completely endearing and adorable is the way that H.E.R.B.I.E functions. The fact that basically all of his commands are, as you would expect, stored on magnetic tape, and the reason why it keeps running is probably because he's running series of programs, and so when they're going into space, they literally hit like an eject button. They pull out that cassette that says home and they put in space. I'm like, that is adorable. Come on now.
I loved the Herbie robe. Like I regret not getting that and getting this instead. I love the Galactus head. Not so much now that I kind of broke a piece of it, but I'll fix that later. But that Herbie is like and to see video of him at Disneyland, like the Avenger, Tomorrowland, not an Avengers Campus, Tomorrowland, which is where the Fantastic Four should be. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely love that.
They are as also anachronistically confusing as Tomorrowland is. So yeah, it's a perfect fitting for them. And by the way, if you really feel bad, if you can get your problems worked out with your 3D printer, I can send you a Herbie model. I'm just saying. Ooh. Don't tell Dad. So yeah, that Fantastic Four movie, it was good, but I will admit too, though, that while I was watching it, there was a certain something missing. I don't know what it was, but like, it was just missing. Interestingly enough, Superman I wanted to see in theaters twice and did not. I was compelled to see it again. Fantastic Four, I actually saw it opening night, and then I saw it Sunday morning with the family, my wife and my daughter. And in both cases, there was just, I don't know what it was. There was just something missing. I think it may have been just that I was looking for a little bit more depth than what was there.
So we did a Fantastic Four talk after, didn't we? Did I do one on Family? I don't remember if I did.
I think they did. I wasn't available.
I think I might have done one. I know we did Superman, but the thing that kind of stuck out to me, and someone made this comment online, and I wish I could give them credit right now, because everybody watches the show, and so I'd like to give them credit when I mention it. But they made a comment about how part of the problem with the MCU after phases 1 through 3 is that where phases 1 through 3 felt like individual genre films, where if you took the superhero out of it, it would still be a good film in and of itself, like Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, all that kind of stuff. There's this underlying theme to the story that has been lacking in phases 4 and beyond. And if you take the Fantastic Four element out of this film, it's not anything more than a Fantastic Four film. There's not a underlying theme or genre that it fits into. It's just a Fantastic Four spectacle.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, where some of these films kind of sometimes feel more soulless. I can tell you, phases 1 through 3 are a heck of a lot more rewatchable, and I think it's because of that. Because if you want Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, watch Winter Soldier. If you want this kind of film, like if you want like a historical nostalgic, because like maybe let's say you liked The Aviator or you like Titanic, watch Captain America: The First Avenger.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah.
You want to see a you want to see a movie about a team that gets together? They don't want to play together, but they're forced to play together, and these reluctant underdogs end up saving the day.
Oh, you mean Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Thunderbolts, my friend. Thunderbolts.
I forgot. Okay, I'm just kidding.
So it's which, by the way, I still think Thunderbolts is the best MCU movie of the year for sure. It's because it certainly was not Brave New World, and Fantastic Four was good, but I think like as a cohesive overall story and a good character story, Thunderbolts really is the one that hit a home run, which is ironic given that it was probably the least performing at the box office.
I think there was too many name drops in Brave New World with the intention of trying to avoid the glaring, questionable character choice in the room of the movie with Sabra. Thunderbolts was just no, never. Thunderbolts was taking a lot of characters that you either loved to love or loved to hate and putting them together, which made it so much more fun. Fantastic Four was very much a right out of the comic books. This was like a giant, like Fantastic Four special.
And that is what I will give it the benefit of. it was an excellent comic book movie.
Yes.
But at the same time, Superman was an excellent comic book movie, as well as setting the tone, letting people know, guys, this new DC cinematic universe, it's a little grown up. The minute Guy Gardner is swatting away the tanks, and many of them are just the big middle finger. Come on.
Yeah. And apart from What If, this is the longest feature that we have seen that is operated outside of the sacred timeline. And so there is a bit of sorry, not sorry. The element, the stakes are not very high when it comes to this world, because we know they're going to end up in the sacred timeline eventually. So if things go bad, that's kind of okay, because we're never going to go back to this universe in the first place. So I do see where there could be things weighing against it.
I don't know what they're doing when they're coming to our universe. You've given your idea, but my whole point is, if they never go back there, there is still a pissed off force of nature that's probably doing everything it can to get back to that Earth.
He's like in space going like,
I mean, realistically speaking, if he can just reside in space, right? Yeah, he might be in a cosmic jail, but eventually there are celestial bodies that would move him, or probably other things that he was able to, and he's got his herald with him, and he's like, look, I am going to pop the head off of you unless you cop me a ride. All right, we got to do something. He's probably throwing a lasso around that Silver Surfer and just hauling along like he's water skiing. You know what I'm saying? Look, the whole point is, Tony, he's still there and he's pissed. Okay. Yeah. And that's so, realistically speaking, although I'm glad they won in the movie, okay, it's still, there's still a force of nature that's out there.
And that's another good point, because you know what? This is a great example of a movie where you didn't have to kill your villain.
True, very true, and nobody had to die because they learned the person's identity. It had a lot of good, Tony. What also has a lot of good are the triple dip cool plates that you can get for your 3D printer, or the ultimate slice box, the ultimate pro box, monthly subscription box. 2 unique kinds of filaments made here in the USA, plus 1 bonus item. All of these things and many more can be yours if you go to the link in my bio. Go to thatwillwilkins.com, click the SliceWorks link, use offer code thatwillwilkins at checkout, and get 5% off. Tony, thank you so much for joining me. It's time to wrap this one up. It is long in the tooth, and we're both near for bed, regardless of what coasts we're on. Because I'm an older man, I got to go to sleep. You know, it's 8:30. I should already be reading my book and getting ready to go to bed. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for joining me. I hope I wasn't too overpowering.
No, this was fun. I enjoyed myself. I hope I wasn't too outspoken this time.
And thank you for not enjoying yourself too much, because we don't have that subscription level. Until next time, folks. My name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
And I mean, like, in some world, we'd probably be back soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Tony Abdullah.
Goodbye.
Signing off. I know. Stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads will be back soon.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Smodcast production. Smodcast Podcast, using our mouths on you since 2007.
You know, Tony, I'm not going to lie. I was super excited when I got those new drops made with your name. Because, you know, it's like, oh, it's the same guy and everything else. But now that I've heard him a few times, I think I'm probably going to try and have somebody else do them, because they come off a little aggro to me. I got to be honest. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I could see that a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love it because it's been the mainstay for NetHeads for as long as I've been watching.
Yeah.
So I just love the fact that you took that effort and got, you know, the same guy to do the audio. Like, make me feel special.
Well, I'm glad. I hope you don't feel like a little Nancy, because that's the problem that's giving me the biggest problem right now.